Haha, I bet you thought there was going to be a JoJo painting featured on this video. Nope, it was Dio. Serious though, crap happens guys, just watch the video. So, people of Earth and elsewhere, welcome back to the channel where what you get is spam, and I am Crackers. Today, spam once again features the legendary manga and anime series JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I've taken it upon myself to discuss this series and vocalize the question that has occurred to me many times since I started getting into it. Why does this work so well? Now, I put two questions as the title of this video, and the first one is, what is a JoJo? So I'm going to give a quick explanation to anybody who is curious about the series. And remember, this is relatively spoiler-free. I went very in-depth in an attempt to make it that way, so no need to be afraid of the girl behind the painting talking into the brand new microphone. Yay! JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is a manga written by Hirohiko Araki. It started being serialized in Weekly Shonen Jump magazine back in 1986, and as of right now, you should know that there are 7 consecutive parts. Halfway through the 7th part, it got switched over to monthly sign-in magazine Ultra Jump, and it is currently on the 8th part. It's still ongoing, and like I said, there's no signs of it stopping anytime soon. Each part has its own JoJo, after which the series is named, and it centers around them as they fight their way through the countless misadventures brought about by their pretty much cursed bloodline. Thank you, Dio. I'll list off all these JoJos for the sake of formalities. In order of appearance, each one in their own series: Jonathan Joestar, Joseph Joestar, Jotaro Kujo, Josuke Higashikata, Giorno Giovanna, Jolene Kujo, Johnny Joestar, and Gappy. Any new people confused? Good, because that's about to tie in nicely to the second discussion. Yes, they are all related, and yes, it's convoluted as all Hellsing. The first 3 have been fully adapted into anime format, and the 4th season has been confirmed for April of next year. The hype is real, people! Now, that's about the most vague and spoiler-free I can keep this summary, but for the sake of arguments, I'll add that it is very aptly named Bizarre. And if you want to know more about this series, feel free to comment in the comment section so that I can try to keep it spoiler-free. Don't randomly go looking stuff up about it, because you never know which plot points have been turned into internet memes, and which points are actually supposed to surprise you as you're going through the series. Because there are parts that are still supposed to take you by surprise. Anyway, that being said, why the heck is this series as popular as it is? Now, all you new people might be thinking, this thing that you still haven't completely explained to me is popular? Then why am I only hearing about it now and seeing this video? Well, the thing is, it's classic, but it's not explosive, like how Attack on Titan completely took over the anime world when it came out. Odds are you've probably heard about Gundam and its exploits more than you've heard about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So, I'm getting off track. Why does JoJo work? Well, to be completely honest, the answer is I don't know. I just don't freaking know. I mean, this manga shouldn't be the landmark that it is. Why does it work? It really shouldn't. I don't know. I'm just gonna start off the list, people. First of all, let's use the example of One Piece. Why do people not want to get into One Piece? Well, besides people being hipsters and saying it's too mainstream, it's really long and really intimidating to try and start the series, isn't it? Especially if you're like me and you want to start from the very beginning of something and work your way forward with it. I mean, granted, I bet that if I did, I could try to get into One Piece, but I don't feel like I have the time to become that devoted to it. That being said, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is substantially longer than One Piece. How did that manage to hook me? And, I mean, what's my problem with Bleach? I just finished catching up with that series this year, and it has plot holes up the wazoo. Anybody who's read Bleach probably knows, like, wow, when it comes to the story, there are a bunch of things that could be said about it. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure has even more plot holes than that, and somehow it still manages to work. And then it has more generations than Yu-Gi-Oh! The thing about Yu-Gi-Oh! Is I love the original series. It was my gateway anime. It's got this nostalgic, perfect place in my heart where it will never leave. But when it came to every generation after the original, it's like, why are you even calling it Yu-Gi-Oh! Anymore when the card game is named Duel Monsters? Like, really, you should rename the show if Yu-Gi isn't around anymore. In JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, they do have a JoJo for each generation at least, but it's still, like, all these different generations. in Yu-Gi-Oh! They managed to not be able to keep the same feeling as I had back in the old series, and it just doesn't have the same appeal. And my last point is, if the main character dies, then that's it. There are no magic Dragon Balls or anything like that to bring back an important character if the series was to start going downhill without them. Shut up, Dio. How? I mean, seriously, how does Araki manage to do this? I think we've all, in this fandom, asked this at some point, and even people outside of the fandom who have heard about it. The reason why I'm making this video is to ask you guys, what do you think? Let's go back to the other anime examples. Another thing is, Yu-Gi-Oh! Manages to switch up the cast, which is also why I don't want to get into One Piece, because we're still stuck with the same people that we've been with the entire time. I mean, don't get me wrong, obviously One Piece is really popular, still one of the big three, still ongoing with no end in sight. It's got to be doing something right. What that is, I don't know, because I'm not going to give it a try. At least not anytime soon. And I'm not trying to crap on One Piece, everybody. I know, it's important, I'm just not into it. But at the same time, One Piece has more of an appeal than Pokemon does, apparently, which I know, a lot of people like Pokemon. I like Pokemon too, but when it comes to the Pokemon anime, you just have Ash, who keeps on going, has never grown up with the 15 years that Pokemon has been going, and I don't know. Like I said, Yu-Gi-Oh! Managed to switch up the cast and the characters, but it didn't have the same feel, and I almost wish they would have kept Yu-Gi around for the entire time. I don't know. Somehow JoJo manages to switch up the cast of characters and reset the universe and do all this stuff, and somehow manages to keep the same feel of the story? I don't think so. In every generation you have the weird as all heck adventures of a JoJo, but it's like it's still connected to the first part that got you hooked into the series, and it sticks you in there like you're stuck in a tar pit. This fandom is very, I don't know, the series is like a black hole. No two parts of JoJo are made equal. Let's all face facts, we all have our favorite parts. We have a favorite part, we have a favorite JoJo, we have a favorite bad guy, other favorite characters. You know, so we all have those things where we think, it was better here, or I liked it more in this part when they were doing such and such with all the characters. It's very easy to play favorites, so why am I still here? Why are you guys still here? Like, really, if you're lucky, you'll get into it in part 1. But as soon as you get off of part 1 and get into part 2, that's when the craziness happens, and I think that's the clincher. Like, especially if you're watching the anime, that's the part that sucks you in and keeps you stuck there. Part 2 is just like, wow, I'm not leaving this anytime soon. That's the point of no return. I mean, you can't say that the generic and rushed work of part 1 is something that we'd like to see carried over into the parts, but it's still JoJo, you know? Maybe it's because all the JoJos are related and we managed to see all of the cameos and stuff from back in the series, because, yeah, the cast gets switched up, but you manage to somehow keep the story going. I don't know how JoJo manages to pull it off. And like I said, they don't all have the same feel because we threw Hamon out the window after part 2. Each individual part is like it's like its own standalone series. But somehow it's all JoJo and you still manage to love it for what it is. Oh, I don't know, it's crazy. Why? All these new people are asking, why? The answer is just because, okay? Just because. I mean, even the most animative fans will tell you that it's not all the most terrific thing in the world. Everybody will say that there's stuff about the series they don't like. I mean, the plot has the surface of Swiss cheese at the bottom of a worm-eaten canyon. In other words, it looks like Fugo's clothing. Or, you know, it's probably worse than that. If there's not one thing that you dislike, then there's probably 10 individual things, whether or not they be plot holes or plot points. All these things that will leave questions buzzing in your head like a hive of wasps. And one thing about being in this fandom is you have to live with the fact that they will never, or at least more than likely, never be answered. Those holes will never be filled in, but you just roll with it anyway. This is, at this point, it's like, this is what fanfiction is for. Araki leaves it way open for fanfiction to be written about all this crap so that people can try and make their own explanations for how these things happened, if you so feel the need to have an explanation for it. He's not going to give it to you, though. Araki has a notorious memory problem. He says his fans have better memories than he does, and I believe it. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wow, you really are crackers. And you know what, you're right. I don't think anybody could get into this series and be entirely sane. I mean, for me at least, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is pretty much the epitome of everything that I like to complain about in an anime, and that has somehow managed to have me enjoying every minute of it. I mean, I have the things that I really do not like about the series and have almost dissuaded me to stop reading it as it got into later parts, but then there were so many quirky, out-of-this-world things that it throws at you that there's just too much to enjoy. It totally makes up for whatever it is that you didn't like. I have to say that has to be part of the appeal to it, because, let's face it, it's long, it's got plot holes, they're switching up the cast and the characters, which is not always a bad thing, but it's not always throwing fan service in your face, although what people define as fan service is different. When I'm watching and reading JoJo, I just don't feel like it's trying that hard to appeal to the fans like that. I mean, it just does what it does. So I'm gonna ask one more time, why does this work so well? If I had to try and come up with an answer, I'm going to repeat what I said. First of all, it warns you. Bizarre is part of the name. You better be expecting some sort of crazy crap all over the place, or you better get out. Go big or go home. As soon as you think it can't get any weirder, you're wrong, and you will be proven wrong more than likely within the next 2 minutes of reading or watching. And if this series were to suddenly stop, I'm just going to say half of the otaku population of the planet, at least, would riot, because just that kind of series, that's how influential it is, whether or not you've heard of it. You've probably seen references to it if you call yourself an anime fan. And I have to say, the reason the series is still going and why it's still getting new people into the fandom is probably because it has, like every popular series, the fans that carry it around. We support it. We bring more people into it, we warn people about all the weird crap that's about to happen, and we tell them, you're about to be thrown into something completely out of this world, you're gonna have to ignore all the plot holes, you're just gonna have to go with it, this is mindless fun for the most part, so please, just enjoy it. Just enjoy it. The series has got a little bit of almost everything. I mean, it's got adventure, comedy, horror, action, random history lessons, and fashion advice. If you throw that in with a host of characters named after bands and songs from 20th century American music artists, then you've got an awesome bomb. Apparently. Well, I tried, you guys. I really tried, but this whole discussion just went off its rocker. You know, like the JoJo series in general. So now it's time for me to pick your brain. Why are you guys in this fandom? What do you like about JoJo, and what keeps you here? I mean, it's come to the point where people who have gotten into JoJo's Bizarre Adventure have nicknamed it JoJo Hell. Please start your conversations in the comment section below. I would really appreciate it, because I, as you can tell, have no idea why this series works so well. Just over 2 weeks from now, I'll be uploading a follow-up from the last video, because at Jump Festa, there's supposed to be a preview, the first animated preview for the Part 4 anime. Reacting to that ASAP, so you guys will have at least my input on what's going on with the Part 4 anime. And next week, the newest chapter of Attack on Titan is coming out, so hopefully by then, I'll be able to give you guys an update on what's going on in the manga, and I'd like to actually have a discussion about that, because I think we're coming down to the grindstone on the manga. And with the new season coming out hopefully next year, well, we'll talk about that when we get there. Thanks for joining me on this escapade, and I hope to get your input. Until next time, guys, ciao! Oh, by the way, new people, seriously, the JoJo Hell thing is real, so if you don't want to get sucked into this series, you want to leave now. Otherwise, there will be no escape. You can't say I didn't warn you. Bye!